Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! Resolve. In the last episode, we started cross-examining with the witness testimony of these three people here. And yeah, I made a mistake. I had a blunder. I'm sorry for that. But it was kind of convoluted, but I finally figured it out. And now we are about to talk Mr. Lune's balloon, so let's get into it. As I said, Balthazar Lune is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All three of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe! But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt-up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can ya? The coppers at the yard reckoned it was probably some debris from the explosion on the stage. This stupido ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. Okay. So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you? Si, exactamente. If he even saw a balloon in the first place. I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have a good mind to sue the land of Bohemia. If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be for all out war. How money can solve problems, right? What happened to all-out war? Mr. Lune certainly doesn't appear to be lying, but that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here.
If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend.
The situation has clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses. Alright, so let's do that, Mr. Lune's balloons. As I said, Balthazar Lune is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. Hold it! You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe? Signore! I might not notice if I was given 100 lentilles and one was missing. But we are talking about three enormous balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grand and expensive?
I took the liberty of having Inspector Gregson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. Clearly says a total of 3 balloons.
It would appear no mistake has been made there. Surely Miss Lestrade could have been sent for such a menial task. What, me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. East End kids like me can only count up to 2. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss reported and said he'd have got himself that case. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an explosion, what a catastrophe! Hold it! It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Lune, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky? Are you an idiota? Sorry? That is like asking why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright, and the balloon flies because it flies. What else? Aha, that must be Italian for I don't know.
There are 2 types of flying balloons, hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air, whereas gas balloons derive their lift by using a gas that is lighter than air.
See, and my balloons are filled with the magic gas, I believe.
Hydrogen, lighter than air but highly explosive.
Good lord! I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire.
Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode.
What is the matter with you, senor? All that comes out of your mouth is esplosione, esplosione. I tell you, my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be, or I cannot eat. One of my balloons exploded that day. I am completely sure. But if you still say that is what happened, you must show me the proof. Alright, so Mr. Loon had 3 balloons in the air that day. If none of them were damaged, then what was the one that exploded? But you can't get away from the fact that a burnt up bit of cloth was found at the scene, can you? Hold it! I was surprised to find the piece of fabric still at the scene, actually. Didn't you search the area surrounding the stage for clues? Nah, I'm not into picking stuff up the ground, mate. Always works out way better. Diving into people's pockets instead. So much for the new career path. Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is though, the cage went crashing into the crystal tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigation was going on. Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence. Cole, listen to you. You stumble across a bit of balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world. Pardon? Well, you ain't got a badge, have you? Like this one. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to. I wouldn't put it past her. Come to think of it, there was talk of some scorching on the ground and a meeting we had about the investigation. The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris from the explosion on the stage. Hold it! There was considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there? Yeah, some of the girls what were watching the experiment were caught in the blast and injured. Good job the old contraption didn't keel over, huh? I hadn't even considered that.
It seemed there was great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, the police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions.
Like me swiping all his fish and chips, huh? The man's sole pleasure. None of this matters. The scrap of balloon envelope means nothing. Niente. This stupido ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and the blue zigzag stripes anyway. Hold it! You mean the color is wrong? Si, signor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene and it's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know how that can be.
For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. You couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question.
Why not?
There have been recreational balloon flights over Hyde Park operating from before the Great Exhibition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree.
You believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Si, exactamente, as the signor says. It is not from one of my balloons. Clearly this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw. We're gonna pursue that for sure. Is something wrong, Master Gotts? It's Master Wilhelm Gottsreich Sigismund Ormstein. It was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear all over Bohemia. You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell you your parents to punish you, huh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments.
Evidence? What is this evidence?
To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance. Some tangible proof of what you claim.
Well, why didn't you say so sooner? I have the photograph here.
Good gracious. What?
I had not been up in balloon for a little while, so I was very excited. It took lots and lots of photographs. Of the Crystal Tower, of the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, of the hot eel cellar, the balloon.
And the instantaneous kinesis experiment? Did you take a picture of that?
Yeah, one picture.
Really? You did take one?
But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments.
Never mind that. Can you show us the photograph?
Of course, and then you will see. You will see that I am not lying, that I really did see a green balloon. Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Yeah, perhaps you cannot see that it was a green balloon from this photograph, but that is not my fault! That is not my fault that is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera!
That is one very bohemian sounding cry. Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence. The photograph of the balloon has been entered in the court record. A photograph of the balloon. A photograph taken by Godson whilst he was riding in a balloon. It shows another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took his shot.
It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera.
Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, when exactly did you take the photograph?
Well, it was on the day of the big explosion.
You don't say.
When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face.
That means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you ask me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give the flying fig. Lovely language you've picked up. As I thought, Mr. Loon's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon, but Mr. Loon vehemently denies the possibility, and it's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. Well, I have to figure out what the inconsistency is as it is, though. What is this inconsistency then? These are rays of light that don't mean anything, right? But this photograph must mean something. What does it mean, guys? What am I missing? So there's the professor, and there is this person. But the question is it Mr. Wait a second, let's have a look at the other photograph. Wait a second, what about the glasses? Although you can't really make out can you make out if this person here... No, you really can't make it out, can you? Although right before the bag. But there is nobody in this, so... Every balloon in there landed safely. All of them were carrying passengers. So I'm gonna present the new evidence here because there is no one in the balloon. So I'm gonna do that because I do believe that since this balloon is empty...
Objection!
Okay, I was right, apparently. Unfortunately, the photograph Master Gods took can't tell us the color of the balloon. But it can tell us something else. Something crucially important.
What?
It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Oh, my goodness, you're right. But surely all the balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise. See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. My balloons only fly with passengers. Which tells us that this pictured balloon is one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. The mysterious green balloon. I know nothing, niente. I can only tell you one thing. If this balloon was not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine. The pulsating head.
Objection!
There are illegal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Loon's patch without him realizing.
See, the competizione, trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage. This fourth balloon exploded at the very same moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below.
Right, so them scraps that fell to the ground after and left them scorch marks, they didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. But cause no one was in it, it didn't get no attention.
A mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by some rogue trader. Clearly it has nothing to do with the case.
Its relevance doesn't elude me, I must say.
The court has sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded.
Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else can this photograph tell us? Is there nothing more we can learn from it? Oh, there must be more. Ah, guys, I really don't know. Really don't know. Wait a second, let me have a look at the court record. There must be something we can learn from this. What can we learn from this photograph? I mean, this seems very fishy. This seems really, really fishy. But I mean, also is this really just the sunshine. This seems like sunshine. But this... This ray of light here is kind of... I mean, it's lurking straight out of the picture. And it seems to be flying at this balloon too. I'm gonna go with there's more. Let's see what...
Objection!
Let's see where this leads us. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. The photograph from Master Gots may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibilities. It's time for definitives now, so tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove?
What is it, guys? The balloon's owner? The balloon's color? We already established we can't really establish the color. I mean, it's black and white. It's sepia, so there's no way we can establish the color. We can't... Can we? The owner, there's no way we can establish the owner. But the cause of the explosion... I mean, we still have the crossbow in the court record. And this seems like a bolt. And if we look at the photograph, I'm actually going to go with the cause of explosion. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, it was not my fault.
Evidently, because the bird cage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon being filled with flammable hydrogen instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
No, that's not what happened.
What?
It would appear that this photograph requires close examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of this alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see. And what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way, that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. The clue that heavily suggests the real reason the balloon exploded is... Well, and I will stick with my thought here. I think... I mean, it can't be really the machine, because we already established, or we kind of know that Mr. Hairbrain's, Professor Hairbrain's hypothesis is flawed, and it's just impossible. And this sticks out like a sore thumb, so I'm gonna go with that. And apparently I was right. Yeah, cool guys, we did it. The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you look, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon.
Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film.
I'm afraid I can see nothing of the sort. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes very clear that the nature of this bright line really is. Goodness, what is that?
Undeniably some flash of light, yes.
Oh golly, do you think it might be lightning?
But it couldn't have been finer day.
I believe we may be looking at fire.
A bolt of fire heading straight for the balloon, like an arrow.
Indeed, even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at the time. No flame could possibly have reached such height.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how that is exactly what did happen.
What evidence?
If such evidence exists, Counsel, then for goodness sake, present it, man. Which evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to be handed directly from the balloon? Well, it must be the crossbow.
Take that!
This was found hidden at the foot of a small ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow? An arrow dipped in oil and set alight could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon.
Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately?
Blimey, you're right. The streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow had done it.
Then the explosion of the balloon, it was...
Very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside it.
No! Order, order! Counsel, this is an extraordinary supposition.
If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used the gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question.
The noise of the discharge? Of course.
That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently.
Well, yeah, if someone had shot a gun off in the exhibition grounds, it would cause a real panic.
But there is the big explosione. There was a very big panic anyway, no?
I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implications of what you're saying, my Nipponese friend?
If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from the cloud of smoke that ensued.
What? Wait a minute. What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up in the sky after all? Or what?
My goodness me!
Ah, now I understand. That's what the sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along.
What? Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel?
There's no going back now. The horse has bolted. Let's assume, as I said, that the birdcage was hidden inside the green balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, the birdcage in the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At the moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention of the spectators to the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall down and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I've just described as the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day.
Good grief! Objection!
This is ludicrous. What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A contemptible display of stage magic.
Both Mr. Sholmes and Iris said that the experiment was a scientific impossibility. In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day.
And in any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. If the instantaneous kinesis didn't take place, how do you explain that?
If I may put in a word, as a man of magic myself, such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deceptions.
Juror number 3.
All that would be needed is a doppelganger, someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asman, and having this other man appear on the stage to front of the show as a body double.
Ah, yes, of course, so in fact, Mr. Asman must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything hidden inside it would have been scattered to the four winds when it exploded. No one would ever have embarked on such a risky venture.
Not necessarily. The explosive force of the balloon gas would very much depend upon the mixture ratio.
Juror number 4.
Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium on its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the gas mixture ratio, the explosive force can be altered.
The mixture ratio?
Obviously, the victim body would have suffered from burns. That would be unavoidable. But not to such an extent as to render this whole of siege around impossible.
So everything that happened can be explained, logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred.
Well, goodness me.
And if we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asman, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant who was on stage in full view the entire time. This will be very hard for the prosecution to counter. Wolf and Zeeks can't credibly maintain that Professor Harebrained is a suspect now.
Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Oh no. Oh no, Professor Harebrained. Don't do this. But I'm really sorry, guys. We have breached the half-hour mark, which means that you will have to tune in for the next episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Resolve to see what Professor Harebrained has to tell us. So, see you next time.